Cavs and Warriors are both a perfect 10-0 this postseason. Seem to be one-upping each other on dominant performances. Tuesday, Golden State beat the Spurs by 36. Friday, the Cavs blew out the Celtics by 44. Cavs have led 77% of the time this postseason, while the Warriors have led 76% of the time. Those are the two highest percentages of minutes led in a single postseason over the last 20 seasons. They're like mirror images of each other, Chauncey, and they seem to just be on this collision course. They don't even really seem to care who they're playing. So who's having the better postseason, Warriors or Cavs?
Ooh, that is tough. I'm going to say the Cavaliers are having the best postseason. I mean, they really – I thought that the Toronto Raptors would be their biggest test over there. Ran through them. You know, I said something about this yesterday. I could see why now they didn't have a problem giving up that #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They preferred rest than going for the #1 seed, knowing that, and we talked about this on our show, if they're healthy, it doesn't matter where they play, in particular in the Western Conference. So I think they're having the best postseason thus far, but I'll tell you what, man, it's only by a smidge. It really is.
It is close.
And also, we saw them last night. So I have to take the Cleveland Cavaliers also, because we don't know what's going to happen with the Warriors today. And they also have LeBron James, who's been the most dominant player I've seen not only in this year's playoffs, but as dominant as he has been in any playoffs, the way he's leading that basketball team.
You want to pick one?
Cleveland.
Okay, wow.
Yeah,
I
know the stats are close, and all those, you know, indicators say it is smidge, Chance. I agree with you. But the way LeBron has been going, I just think that Cleveland is playing with this supreme confidence. Like, I'm going to go back to this again. It reminds me of the way that Scottie and Horace and Bill Cartwright, all those guys, Paxson, felt when they were playing with Jordan. They felt, oh, no, we know we can crush you and crush your spirit at home or on the road. And they felt that way even going to Salt Lake City. I feel like Cleveland feels like that now. That Love and Kyrie and all those guys feel like they are playing with the supreme being in sports, and they're not going to lose.
And to me, one of the deciding factors is we can't lose sight of this. They were an average basketball team the second half of the season. There's a switch that had to turn on for them. There's a mindset that had to change. There's a focus that had to change, and it did. These Warriors, they've been the best team all season long. There was an adjustment that had to happen. The Cavs made that adjustment, and not just LeBron, but all of these guys are playing terrific.
And unfortunately for us as fans, the best player on the teams that they're facing are both injured, Isaiah Thomas and Kawhi Leonard. But there's no surprise these two teams have a chance to both be 12-0, giving us our first trilogy in NBA Finals history.
By the way, if you're a fan of these two teams, I'm sure you're having just parties every night. Game 2 in both series were so out of reach by halftime. Starters for both teams combined for only 29 minutes played. The sheer lack of competitiveness at this point. Let me ask you, if you're not a Cavs or Warriors fan, are they ruining this postseason?
Absolutely not. Did we see Isaiah ascend this year? Yep. John Wall, Greek Freak, Russell Westbrook. There's amazing storylines, but the two best teams, this is what happens in the NBA. The Lakers, 16 championships. The Celtics, 17. There's a reason why they're the only two franchises that have more than 6. The NBA is secular, however, but these are the two best teams, and they're going to make it to the finals.
I disagree with you, buddy. I disagree with you, man. Okay. I've been very disappointed, Mr. Rose.
Okay.
Beats, Wilbon. I've been very disappointed in the playoffs this year.
You weren't disappointed. We were cheering for Kawhi, and we was cheering for Memphis. And the game was
I cannot help injuries.
No, we were just watching a good game.
None of us can.
With the dribble handoff, Marcus Gasol, the jumper, and Kawhi.
I've never seen as many blowouts. This is the playoffs.
Playoffs?
I've never seen as many blowouts in the playoffs ever, and I am disappointed about it.
All right, we're tied over here.
So I get to break this.
You're breaking this, yep.
I'm with Jalen.
Oh, come on.
I'm going to tell you why. Listen, dominance is good for any league. Dominance is always good for your sport. When you have the Celtics and the Lakers, if you have the Montreal Canadiens, if you have the whatever sport you're talking about, right now, the New England Patriots, that is never bad for your league. If you want to bring new people into the tent, you have to put the greatest teams out there. No one remembers who people trashed in the second round 10 years. Who did Magic and Bird beat in the second round in 1985? We don't know. but we remember the finals. All we're going to remember from this, and Chauncey, you're right. The games themselves are disappointing.
Oh,
they are so
man.
disappointing. But in terms of
it's
what's
like going to a Mike Tyson fight back in the day.
Whoa, wait a minute.
It's going to be over in 2 rounds.
But do you remember that Michael Spinks fight, 91 seconds, him being out cold? Yes, you do.
I do remember that.
So that's what he wants.
Dominant.
But I would like to see him out cold in the 12th round or 11th round.
Sounds like a man who paid for a pay-per-view.
I paid for the Peter McNeely fight, and he ran out there and got knocked out. But with that being said, are you surprised that it's going to be Cavs and Warriors in the finals?
I'm not surprised, Jalen.
So since I'm not surprised, I expected this to take place.
Let's get to it. Let's just go ahead and preview that then while we're standing up here. By the way, the only way you're angry, and it's fine, is if you're just not a fan of these two teams.
No,
because if your team is dominating, then there's nothing wrong with
the only way you're angry is if you're a Spurs fan, because if Kawhi don't get injured, they win game 1. Yeah. It's a split today, 1-1. Going into game 3, and I think the San Antonio Spurs will probably win on their home floor. What do you think?
If was a 5th, we'll all be intoxicated, buddy.
Chauncey's spirit is different these days.